Welcome to the Toxin Terminator, helping people to restore and renew their health by removing the toxins from the home and their lives. Join in as industry thought leaders help you understand the physical and emotional effects these products can have on you and your family, and the safe alternatives you can use to remove the hidden toxins for renewed health. Now, please welcome your host, the Toxin Terminator herself, Amy Carlson.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the show. I am super excited for today's guest. He is a certified fitness nutrition coach with a PN1 certification. He is also a podcast host, and I just absolutely love having additional podcast host on here of the Dirobi Health Show. He is a supplement industry insider. And let me tell you, today we are going to learn all about a transformation journey that Dave Sherwin is putting on starting in January. He's going to talk to us more about that and the 7 principles for phenomenal health. Dave, thank you so much for coming on the podcast today.
My pleasure. Thanks so much for the invite. This is great.
Oh, we're so excited to have you. And remember, we are live, everyone. So if you have questions for Dave, please make sure you pop those into the comments, and we'll make sure that at the end of the show, we'll get into some of these questions that we can answer for you. But Dave, share with us, you've got this wonderful journey starting in mid-January. Tell us more about it.
Yeah, well, it's based on the 7 principles of health that I wrote a little ebook about, and it's what I share with my clients. Okay, so primarily I'm a supplement guy. We have a supplement business. We've sold supplements for years, and we started with a weight loss product, and that product was phenomenally successful. It's the #1 selling weight loss program of its kind back in 2010, 11, 12, and really went crazy. And that was wonderful. And it was great. We had testimonials of people losing 30 pounds, 50 pounds, 100 pounds. And it was a really great experience, except that I always wanted to make sure that there was real transformation happening, that people were able to keep that weight off. That's always been the criticism of diets is, fine, you lost 30 pounds, now what? Mm-hmm. And I struggled with that question for years. And I finally just realized, if I'm going to be more than a guy who sells bottles of stuff to people, I've got to get my own health certification and teach them and give them more personal attention. And so that's where it all started. And I took precision nutrition through a team that I was a part of, and I absolutely loved that. It was such a great program. And even though I'd been quite healthy for a long time, and fitness is a really important part of my life, I still didn't understand what I was doing a lot of times. And I still wasn't making really good, healthy meals. And I was, in some areas, too concerned about some things. In other areas, not concerned enough. It was a mixed bag for me. And Precision Nutrition was the company that really helped me feel confident for the first time in my life about nutritional principles. And so I decided to get my own certification through them. Mm-hmm. And then from there, I've just tried to, I've created the podcast, as you mentioned. I've just tried to give as much information and help as I can to my customers. And so finally now it's evolving to where we're going to try this journey concept where we actually gather a group of people and take it in an organized way, help them experience 90 days of physical transformation. Mm-hmm. You know, as you go through your life, have you ever put on a little weight and then and you lose it, or you up your fitness game? There's a day when you put on a dress, or for guys, maybe you put on a belt and all of a sudden it's a belt loop smaller, right? Yeah. That the feeling of a shirt or dress fitting better, your belt loops going down, those are really rewarding experiences in health and fitness. And that's what I mean by transformation is to where your body actually changes in a positive way, where someone might look at you and go, hey, what have you been doing? Those are super rewarding things that we experience when we up our game. So the journey is designed to help people have those type of experiences.
Right. Well, and obesity is such a pandemic in our world today, and really something that we need to focus on. But for me, Dave, I had the opposite. I have been thin, very thin for my entire life. And I always equated my weight as far as being thin to being healthy. And I was so far from the truth with that. Can you speak just a little bit before we get into this journey about, weight not necessarily being an indicator of health, but certainly a big part of it?
Well, absolutely. And you bring up a really great point. Because weight loss is actually the primary concern of 60% of Americans, we tend to not talk enough about the other 40%.
Right.
And I have a young woman who's going to take the journey who has food, problems, and she's very, very thin, and she's going to take the journey not for weight loss, but hopefully internal transformation that's a little bit different than a physical transformation.
Right.
And then there's also men. There's many men who are skinny who'd like to be more muscular, right? That's a real thing.
Oh, yeah.
And so, and for women too, there's many women also that are very, very active. There's many women very, very fit, and yet they don't even realize that they have a lot of hormonal disruption, and their caloric needs are actually not being met correctly, and their nutritional needs. And so there are plenty of people like you described. They look fine. The obese person would look at them and say, "What are you complaining about?"
Right.
And yeah, it's very, very real. But the basic fundamental elements of living a good, healthy life are the same for all of us.
Okay.
If everyone of us got on a good, healthy track and ran down the right track, we would naturally lose weight. We'd naturally gain weight. We'd naturally have our body recomposed to how it's supposed to be from the inside out.
Right. Well, and that's where true transformation comes, is when we change things from the inside out, so that we don't have this, gaining the weight, losing the weight, gaining the weight, losing the weight. I think that can actually cause more damage to the body than staying overweight or staying underweight.
Yeah, it's the part of the difficulty being a coach. I have people in my world who know more about nutrition than me because they've been on so many diets, they've read so many books, and yet they've not been able to take that knowledge. It's not about knowledge.
Right.
It's the bottom line. It's not about knowledge. It's about taking, for many people, it's about getting rid of overzealousness. Literally, there's some people that are so freaked out about food, about eating a chocolate bar or having a soda, that don't understand the context of having a good diet, and that it's not about having a perfect diet. There's no such thing as a perfect diet.
Right.
And so the yo-yo dieting, the binge eating, oftentimes it's done by people who know better, and they know that they know better. The difficulty is in establishing those habits and that inner transformation to the point that you have healthy thoughts about food, healthy thoughts about fitness, healthy thoughts about your body image, and are able to get in a stable situation where your nutrition, your eating, your supplementation is all based on basic nutritional principles that you can follow long-term.
I love that. I love that, because I do think that the mindset is a huge piece of the puzzle with this, in terms of not shaming yourself for some of the food decisions that you make, and realizing that food really is something to nourish and nurture the body, than something to be, I don't know, ashamed of or beat yourself down for making a poor decision.
Yeah, it's one of the great pleasures and joys of life.
Right.
It should be absolutely enjoyable to sit and eat food. You don't have to sit and stew over, what is this doing to me? Or, this is going straight to my hips, or whatever the thought is, right?
Or I hear from so many people, and I'm sure you do too, Dave, that, in order to eat healthy, it's so bland. It doesn't taste good. It's not something I even enjoy or want to do.
Yeah, and again, oftentimes that one's just a matter of not taking the time. We live in a world where we have access to everything. Like, everyone loves some type of food. Some people love Chinese food, some people love Indian food, some people love American food or British food or French food or whatever, you name it. And so when I mentioned many people are too educated and have lots of knowledge, surprisingly, the same group of people has probably never spent the time to simply sit down and develop out and think through the meals that they enjoy, the spices that they like, the ways to flavor food. And that's actually part of the journey we'll be doing, is developing what I call 9 perfect meals. If you have 3 perfect breakfasts and 3 perfect lunches and 3 perfect dinners that you really love, you can eat those over and over and over, because of course, other things come up. You go out to lunch, someone else makes your breakfast. But if you would sit down and take the time to develop out 3 breakfasts that are healthy that you really like, it's a game changer. That one thing of knowing that you have 3 go-to options for each meal that you look forward to. As you make them, you're like excited. This is going to be a great breakfast, right? That's what we're looking for. And a lot of people have never done that.
Right. Well, and when I first started getting into looking at my food, because that was like one of my last strongholds, I did everything else besides the food, because I always thought it was so hard. It was going to be hard to find all the ingredients and piece things together. So I love this concept of creating, 3 breakfasts, 3 lunch, 3 dinners. What a great idea.
Yeah, thank you. I agree. And it really worked for me. It was something someone else introduced me to years ago. Mm-hmm. And I really needed it. And once I did it, it was like magic. Yeah. And to this day, I would say 80% of my breakfasts are from those 3 meals. And not so much with lunch and dinner, maybe 50% goes down. My wife makes dinner. But she makes it according to the general rules of precision nutrition, the hand rules of a mix of healthy carbs, protein, fat, and vegetables on the side. And so as long as she does that, it doesn't matter. She can make anything. I'm pretty easy to please when it comes to food. But again, for many people, they just have not thought that through. And so they tend to not have the ingredients on hand. And so they tend to go with whatever is simple and available when they go in the kitchen.
Yeah. Grabbing it out of that bag, grabbing it out of that box, making it easy. So you talk about, this transformation journey, tell us, when does this start? I know you said it was going to begin in January. And by the way, we are scrolling across the bottom of the screen. I guess we're not scrolling it, but the website is dirobi.com, and you'll be able to go right there to sign up for this journey. So I'd love to hear more about that.
Yeah, it's based on the top 7 principles of health that we talk about with our customers all the time. And the point of turning it into a journey, it's one thing to tell people something like, here's how you should do this. It's a whole other thing to do it with a group of people and to get really in-depth information on a regular basis. And so that's why we thought we'd try out this journey concept. It's called a journey very specifically. There's all kinds of challenges out there, but the fact is we just feel like people have enough challenges right now. Why don't we just not do a challenge, we thought, and make it a journey where we're trying to help people step onto a track, like I mentioned before, that's sustainable, that they can do long term. So even though we fully expect people to have wonderful transformational experiences in 90 days, what we're more excited about is that by that point, they'll be really happy with the new lifestyle they've developed and just carry on with it. So we're tentatively starting January 21st.
Okay.
It's also based on a principle of we're not really charging for the journey. We have thousands of customers a month in our business, and we're a small but successful supplement seller. And I'm not trying to do this to make money. There's no fee for the journey. The way we're doing it is, there's a group of supplements I want people to take for the journey. And we're just saying, just buy these supplements that we want you to take anyway. And then with that purchase, the journey is, a freebie on top of that. So that's how we're doing it, so that it's hopefully affordable and simple for people. And they've got the supplements that they need to do it.
I love that. And boy, let me tell you, in our world today, supplementation is so key. We just are not able to get the nutrients, the minerals, the vitamins, all the nutritional value out of our food sources that we once were able to do, even when we eat and make those healthier choices. Would you agree with that?
Well, I do agree. And I do the best I can. And like I say, I've generally had a good program for a long time in my life of fitness and nutrition. This has been my world. I love it. And as good as I do, every single year. I just barely send in my samples for a genetic test. I do it every year. I get a test to determine any nutritional deficiencies, and then I adjust my program accordingly. And it doesn't matter how well I do. There's always something, and things change over time. And I'm proud of the tests that come back. They're like, hey, you're doing really good. You just have this one area. That's what I'm kind of looking for. There's a little bit of ego there. If you're in the industry, you want to know you did a little better than the crowd. But I recommend that for everyone, though, and to do either. Some of them are just hair. You just cut off a lock of hair and you send it in, and they can give you really accurate readings. Others, sometimes they want blood. I've done a variety of different tests. Yeah. But my point is, there's many, many very healthy people that do these, and there is always something. Now, we've designed our supplements to fill the big ones. That's the whole point.
Right.
You asked me before the show about talking about functional supplements. To me, the whole word functional supplement, the word functional means it does something. And the biggest thing a supplement can do is fill in a nutritional deficiency you have.
Right.
That's the most important thing. So if you find out you have a vitamin D deficiency, a zinc deficiency, a chromium deficiency, supplement, because it's going to be very, very hard. You could be eating really well and take that test, and you're going to find out you have some deficiencies. And so knowing what they are, then supplementing accordingly is the ultimate way to do it. Our supplements are designed to fill most of them. So a lot of people will take our Mimi's Miracle Multi, for example, in our mineral supplement. Those are the two basics. And those will fill in. Those are based on the research of deficiencies. That's how we developed them. Most multivitamins are a laundry list of about 70 things with a tiny fraction of all of them. And they claim that the USDA, the USRDA is, you got 1,000% of this one, and you got 100% of this, and 200. It doesn't matter what's in it. All that matters is what absorbs. Right. All that matters is what your body actually takes in a form that it can use. And the fact is, our product only has 18 ingredients because the vast majority of vitamins and minerals are available from diet. They really are. There's just some really sticky, tough ones that we've identified that people ought to really supplement with. And in addition, there's some supplements you don't necessarily need, but your lifestyle's improved if you take them. Like, for one simple example, not everyone does well on caffeine. Some people do poorly on caffeine, but some athletes thrive on caffeine and they'll have a better workout, et cetera. I'm one of those, right? If I take a pre-workout, I feel a little supermanish, like I've really got more strength, more energy, and I'm going to get a better workout. I don't need a pre-workout, but I like it. I just feel better. I just feel that gets me going, and I'm going to get more out of the workout.
Right.
So that's an example of something you don't need, but could be really good for you. And
you're being a little humble here when you talk about, Dave knows what he's talking about when he's speaking of working out, because in your life, you have, a 405-pound deadlift at the age of 52. You finished in the top 25% of all competitors in the Olympic distance national triathlon at the age of 48. So this isn't something that you accomplished in your 20s and then, have that on your repertoire. You are keeping up with this physical stamina, this longevity, and I would testament that the supplements are working and the nutrition, that you're feeding your body.
I want to be as healthy as I can for as long as I can.
Yeah.
I like to golf. And for example, there may come a day when that's all I can do, right? When I'm no longer deadlifting. When I'm 90, I don't picture myself doing any deadlifts at all. But if I can walk 9 holes on the golf course with my grandchildren, I would consider that a wonderful life, right? Yes. And I do think long term in terms of I see people who don't age so well, who are in a wheelchair in their 70s, and that's very sad. But unfortunately, and without being judgmental here, because of course there's some people, there was a car accident, who knows? So we don't look at people in wheelchairs and judge them in their old age. Right. All I'm saying is I want to do everything I possibly can to avoid it. Absolutely. Right. So if it's something that I can do in my lifestyle now so that I'm a very fit, healthy 90-year-old great grandfather with my little great grandchildren running around my feet. I'm a happy guy, right?
Yes.
And so that's kind of my vision long term.
Yeah. I run, and my running partner down here in Arizona and I go to the Senior Olympics, or have gone to the Senior Olympics in Utah. And I love those games because I get to meet athletes who are in their 90s, who are in their 80s, and they're still competing. They're still doing all that they do. And I love hearing their stories. And, they all have this mindset that just, you got to let things roll off your shoulders, and you just keep putting one foot in front of the other. It's almost the same story always. They just keep going.
I love that. And the level of performance there. And I've got friends that compete there. And I'm telling you, it is not much lower than the level of younger people. You check out the cycle times of the Senior Olympic Games and compare it to what the 20-year-olds are doing. It's not much slower. There's some 70-year-old athletes that are just amazing.
Oh, they're phenomenal. I keep my friend that I run with, she's 10 years older than I am. And I keep saying, I can't wait to get to the next age bracket, so maybe I'll place, and it's like, but they're phenomenal.
Guess what you're going to find out if you haven't already? Only the best ones keep carrying on. So I went through this for years in triathlon and running races. I'd think, okay, when I turn 40, I'm going to be the fastest because I'm running against 44-year-olds, and they're going to be so old. They all go with you, and the best ones keep going and going and going, and it doesn't get much easier, right? And that's kind of cool, right? The competition stays high, and that's good for us too. So.
Absolutely.
Going to that next age group isn't necessarily a big advantage.
No, it's not. It's never been for me anyway. I love that. So in your transformation journey that you got starting, I know that you're going to be sharing more about the 7 principles of living a phenomenal health. But in our final time that we have together today, can you maybe highlight some of those principles for us?
Yeah, let me see if I can quickly give them all to you. So those of you that don't do the journey, do this on your own time, okay? If you want to do it with me, that'd be a blast, and let's do it together. But here they are. I'll just go through them quickly. I've got them sitting on the wall so I don't forget any. Thumbtack to the wall. Number 1, do not drink calories. So that is not a rule. It's not like you can never have something besides water. But generally speaking, we drink too much soda in this country. We drink too many juice. Don't think that healthy drinks are always healthy. Many juices are simply calorie-dense drinks that don't give you that much nutrition. So as much as possible, try to drink water, half your body weight in ounces every day. So if you weigh 150 pounds, drink 75 ounces of water. That's a great guideline. Of course, drink when you're thirsty, but most people don't drink enough. So try to drink more water. Number 2, so go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. Do you have any tips for people? Because I hear this one all the time. I just can't stand water. It's so bland. And do you have any tips that help people get more water in?
I do. There's lots of great things you can add. As a matter of fact, I have essential oils. I have orange, grapefruit, and lemon. And just a few drops, 3-4 drops added to a bottle, just wakes it right up, makes it taste a lot better, and it adds some health benefit. A healthy energy drink. Like I like the company Zuma out of Virginia. We resell some of their products on our website. They got a great natural energy drink. So if it's the afternoon and you're feeling a little lethargic, this is a no calorie, no artificial ingredient energy drink that has a fruity taste. And I do those sometimes. And so, yeah. So now part of it is many people don't like water because it sits in their stomach and it actually gives them pain. And the reason for that is because the size of the molecules of the water are too large. And so if you add minerals to your water, it will actually add some electrolytes, but in addition, it will break down the surface tension of the water so that your stomach can absorb it better. So for a lot of people, that's why they don't like it. So try adding minerals.
I love that. Minerals to water to help that. Thank you so much. That's a great tip. And what kind of minerals can you just add, like some sea salt to it, Himalayan sea salt?
You can, especially if you're doing intermittent fasting, add a little salt before you break your fast that day is a great idea. We sell Mimi's Miracle Minerals. It's one of the top selling liquid minerals on Amazon. You can find it there on our website. That's the one that I add. Of course, it's our own.
Sure.
Or any product called fulvic acid. That might sound like a really weird name if you've never heard of it, but it contains 70 trace minerals.
Okay.
So any liquid fulvic acid product you could find at your local grocery store, health food store, probably not your grocery store, or our website, Mimi's Miracle Minerals, is a good one. And there's also at all the running stores, all the places that sell shoes and cycle stores. A lot of them have liquid minerals because a lot of the athletes do this.
Yeah, you need that added minerals, when you're putting your body under that kind of stress for sure. Yeah. All right. Number 2.
Eat slowly and mindfully. People eat too quickly. I won't spend a lot of time on this because a lot of people understand it, but try to avoid eating in your car, eating standing up, eating in a rush, or just not paying attention to your food. Eat it slowly. Give your stomach a chance to digest it fully, work the enzymes into it. And it's also a more enjoyable experience. Like we mentioned, food is supposed to be a joy of life. Why not take the time to enjoy every bite? That also, science proves that we tend to eat about 20% less when we eat slowly and mindfully. So it's a caloric reduction as well.
Yep. Okay.
The next one is intermittent fasting. For men, try to eat all your food within an 8-hour window. For women, 10, no less, because of hormonal disruption. But if you can pick a 10-hour window from where you have breakfast and eat all your food and then stop, this is a almost magical health tip because it's supporting all both the circadian rhythm and the hormonal rhythm of the body.
Yes.
So when we stop eating in the evening, our body is digesting the food. When we go to bed, the food is digested so it can work on eliminating pathogens and carcinogens and adjusting the hormones. Then when we wake up, our HGH, our estrogen, and our testosterone in both men and women have estrogen and testosterone. It's just testosterone. It's just a different mix. Mm-hmm. Both of those, when they're elevated, along with HGH and low blood sugar, mm-hmm. we're in a great state. We're mentally at our best. We're mm-hmm. physically at our best. And we stay in that state till we have that first meal. Right. So it's a phenomenal state to exercise in. It's mm-hmm. a phenomenal state to do our most important work in. And then we eat that first meal at maybe 10 o'clock, 11, noon, whatever your window, works, whatever window works best for you. And then again, you finish it. And what you do when you stop eating at dinner time, one of the most magical parts of this is the junk food you cut out that you would have eaten after dinner while you're watching TV.
Absolutely.
You cut that out, and it's amazing what health benefits you have just from that.
Right. We do have a question here on, do you have a recommended time frame for intermittent fasting? And I think you answered that with, women, 10 hours, no more than, 10 hours. I follow a 6-hour window personally myself. So I'm noon to 6 p.m. Do you have any other recommendations there? Yeah,
it's a great question. And everyone has a different kind of internal clock. Right. I would say do the one that feels best for you. Except that don't go later than 7. That's the one hard rule I would set. If you can have that last food in your stomach at 6, that's ideal. Because now you've got 4, 5, or 6 hours, depending on when you go to bed, that your body gets to process that food. So now you're going to sleep better. See, this is like a virtuous circle.
It is.
It's right.
Well, think about it. If your body has to expel energy to be digesting your food versus sleeping and restoration, that's what's going to happen. It's going to digest. And so we're not restoring the body during our sleep.
Yep. And the next one is learn your carbs, protein, and fat. The sources, like I said, the 9 perfect meals. Learn the protein sources that you enjoy. Learn the carbs that you enjoy and healthy fats, which often go with the proteins. For example, meat. If you have meat, it has the healthy fat in it.
Right.
In other foods like avocados are high in good, healthy fat and oils. So learn and create those meals based on the macros. The macros are the carbs, fat, and protein.
Right.
And that's the basic building blocks of our health. And the fact is we are a carb-addicted society that doesn't get near enough protein. That's typically the biggest adjustment that people have to make. But figure out 9 breakfasts, lunches, and dinners with a balance of carbs, fat, protein. And on top of that, make sure you're getting 5 to 9 servings of vegetables a day.
Ooh.
So those 2 things, the right mix of macros and the fruit and vegetables. And that right there is a game changer. If you can eat that way, you're gonna feel good. You're gonna lose weight or gain weight if you're doing the right fitness routine along with it. Your body's going to adjust to where it should be is what will happen.
I love that. I love that. Thank you. Okay.
The next one is the supplement strategy. Observe a effective supplement strategy that typically starts with the multivitamin and minerals. And then on top of that, there's functional supplements. For example, I did put a lot of stress on my joints earlier in my life, and now I'm paying the price for some of that. I've got a minor back injury that I have to deal with, and I've had multiple injuries throughout my life. And I take a turmeric supplement every morning and every night. That's a functional supplement. It lowers inflammation, and so that's a specific one for me. For many other people, there's on top of a multi and a mineral, there are specific things. Many women have been advised to take extra iron. If you've been diagnosed with low iron, it's wise to supplement with iron. Almost everyone, like I said, is deficient in vitamin D, zinc, chromium, magnesium, calcium. Now, much of that does get taken care of through diet. If you can eat 5 to 9 servings of fruits and vegetables a day, you take care of a lot of this. And your body knows how to handle it. If you get too much of something, it will typically just get rid of it in a natural way. So another reason why it doesn't hurt to take supplements, even though you feel like you're eating really well.
Well, and again, and I really encourage people. I know, Dave, we've got your website up here so they can go check out your supplements. I really think it's important to know the source of your supplements, because I think that there are some supplements out there that can really cause more damage and harm to the body than good. Would you agree with that statement?
I would. As a matter of fact, you can learn about those. There's a website called examine.com. I'm a big fan of it. I'm a paying subscriber. It's an important part. They do a lot of research on supplements. I follow that very carefully for my own business.
Okay.
And I think if you do a Google search like examine.com supplements to avoid, something like that.
Okay.
They'll give you a list of 15 that you should absolutely avoid, along with some ingredients that should not be in your supplements. So you can just check and make sure you don't have those. The FDA also has excellent articles on current known toxic supplements or ingredients that should not be included.
Love that. Thank you so much for giving that, because I think that's important to be aware of. Okay.
Yeah, great point.
Got 2 more.
Number 6, move your body every day.
Ooh,
exercise daily. I'm talking 7 days a week. If you have a holy day, which many people in this country do, chances are you can do yoga or go for a walk, right? I don't care what the day is. Like, there's some days you can go heavy, some days you can go long, some days you're going to take it easy.
Right.
But the older you get, the more you're going to come to appreciate that our bodies are meant to move.
Yes.
And if you spend a long time sitting, right? Sitting is the devil. Sitting is the new smoking, right?
Sitting is the devil.
Sitting is the devil. And like right now, as I talk to you, I'm at my standing desk.
Yes.
Right now, I don't stand all day. And sometimes I stand too long. It just kind of wears me out, and then I feel it too. So there's balance. There's times, obviously, that we need to sit and refresh ourselves.
Yep.
But most people sit too much. Yep. And that leads to shortened tendons and joints. We lose our hip flexibility. We stoop forward. A lot of us are at a desk where our shoulders roll forward and our neck is forward. And we're just doing a lot of small but long-term significant damage to ourselves. So having a simple fitness strategy, again, doesn't have to be hard. I'm not saying that we all have to become gym rats. Walking counts.
Yes.
Yoga, calisthenics. My workout this morning, I rode 1,000 meters easy on my rowing machine. I did calisthenics for 20 minutes, and I'm testing out that new Apple Fitness Plus, and they got all these 10-minute core exercises. So I checked out one of those today. It was quite easy. I don't think I even broke a sweat, but I felt great. I feel good now. I always feel good for the whole rest of the day when I have exercise, even if it's simple.
Yeah. One thing I'll do too as women, especially if you're in a position where you do have to sit at your desk for a long period of time, I set alarms in my phone. So every hour I get up and move, whether it's 5 minutes, 10 minutes, I'm going to get up and move. And in that time frame, you can do 25 arm exercises, 25 leg, 25 core, pick a couple body parts and just focus on those and get those quick little bursts of exercise in. But the alarms are my friend.
I love that. And I call those trigger exercises. And your trigger is the alarm. When the alarm goes off, that's a trigger to exercise. Some days I get up in the morning and my day just starts getting away from me. I've got appointments, and if I miss my workout, you know what I do? I put a kettlebell by the door of my office right here. And what I do is every time I leave my office, I have to either swing the kettlebell or do one-hand kettlebell thrusters or some exercise every single time I leave. And by the time the day is over, I've had a great workout.
Well, I've heard some people even say that they'll incorporate some sort of exercise every time they go to the bathroom. So pick something that you're going to do every single day and multiple times a day, and then incorporate your movement into that.
Yeah, I totally agree. It's a wonderful habit. It's a great way. And it's good for those of you who don't really like fitness to just come up with something very simple. I know a guy who every time he leaves his computer, he does 20 squats and 10 push-ups every single time. And if you think about, you probably take a break mid-morning, you got lunch, you do something in the afternoon, that he probably ends up doing that 5 times a day.
Nice.
So
nice.
Keeps him in shape.
Yeah.
And the last one is, oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Last one.
Last one is sleep. That's where that's where we put a big bow on all of these habits we just talked about.
Right.
During the night, your body is processing all of these good habits that you did. It's extracting all the nutrients and sending them to the right places. Very importantly, because you haven't eaten food for a few hours, it is breaking down carcinogens and pathogens and viruses and bacteria and cleaning itself up. Mm-hmm. So your immune system is boosted. And so we all need 7 to 9 hours of sleep every night. And I know there's some of you listening right now that are going, yeah, I get that, but I just can't sleep. I really feel for you. I had really poor sleep for years. I dealt with insomnia. Mm-hmm. I'd have nights where I didn't sleep at all. It would get even worse before races. I've spent years doing various races, and I did many of those races on 0 sleep. Yep. And that was super frustrating for me. I'd spend months building up to a big race. Mm-hmm. And then that night, the anxiety would get to me, and I'd lie awake all night. And then at 7 o'clock in the morning, I'm at the start line of some big race, right?
Yeah.
So I understand as well as anyone, it can be really, really hard. Yeah. But I would take it as a personal challenge. Keep working on it. Don't give up. Mm-hmm. Consult with a sleep specialist if you need to. Mm-hmm. The things, we finally bought a very expensive bed. And I know a lot of people don't want to hear that. But I'm telling you, until we got a Sleep Number bed, we did a lot of research on beds. I'm not saying it's the best one. There's many, many good mattresses. For us, that's the one that we just picked after lying on a few and testing them all out. But I'm telling you that we spend a third of our lives on a mattress. And it is well worth investing in one that supports your body in the right way, in the right places. And for me, that was probably the biggest thing that finally kicked my problem with sleep. For others, it could be something else. Yeah. But we need those 7 to 9 hours, however we got to do it.
Oh my gosh. And trust me, I've got all kinds of podcasts that have talked about sleep and sleep habits. And so if you want to know more, and that's a real struggle for you, please go in and check out the past episodes, because I've had many sleep experts on. It's that important for us. Love it. All right. We are well past our 30 minutes, Dave, but we've gotten through the 7 principles. Our transformation journey is going to go right along those principles. You're going to walk through this free, but you're going to have some recommended supplements to take. We can find this at dirobi.com by going to the website. We're targeted to start on January 21st for this. And Dave, last final words. What do you want to leave our audience with as we wrap up here?
I'd say the one thing that I would talk about more, except it's not in my lane, is meditation. I talk to people about eating slowly and mindfully, but in actual fact, I would love to get everyone doing everything slowly and mindfully and starting their day with meditation. And for me, that's been one of the most life-changing habits I started. I'm 5 years into a meditation habit now, and it's been absolutely transformational for me internally. For many people who struggle with some of the things you mentioned earlier, binge eating, body image issues, difficulties, something internally that they really struggle with, there is nothing like meditation to really get to know yourself on an inner level, and to be able to improve, because all these things come from our mind.
Right.
All our negative thoughts come from our mind, obviously. All of our positive thoughts come from our mind. Everything is initiated in our mind. When we walk into the kitchen and we decide what to eat, that comes from our thoughts. And most people live their life in a fog and just a constant barrage of thoughts. And the old story of the guy on the horse racing by, and his friend says, "Where are you going?" He says, "I don't know. Ask the horse."
Oh, that's so good.
That is a great analogy for how we live our lives if we're not careful, that our mind is just running along its own track and not necessarily in a controlled manner. So that would be my closing thoughts, is take that whole concept of eating slowly and mindfully to the next level and introduce mindfulness and meditation into your life as a practice.
I love that. Dave, stay with me as we close ourselves up here, and I'll be right back with you all. If you enjoy what you're hearing, make sure you go to my website at www.amycarlson.com, AIMEECARLSON.com. You can pick up your free toxic risk assessment there.
That's all for this episode of The Toxin Terminator, and we hope we've helped you remove the hidden toxins in your life for renewed health. If you're looking to continue your journey towards full rejuvenation, reach out to Amy directly by visiting amycarlson.com for your own one-on-one chat session, as well as your free toxic risk assessment. That's AIMEECarlson.com. And remember, you are just one small change away from renewed health.